Welcome all. Welcome to this Build Tech Talk, where we will talk tonight about integration. My name is Hessel Takoma, and I will be your host for tonight. And as I said, the subject of tonight is integration, and we are looking how integration can be done using API management, and how that can enhance your digital transformation. We have two great speakers for you tonight. The first one will be Kapil Dwivedi, and he will talk about the digital transformation and the challenges that you encounter when you want to solve digital transformation with APIs. And he will show a demo with APIGEek. And the second one will be Mohammed Alatrash, and Mohammed will give you a demo of how you can create your own API in MuleSoft. And he will also share the link that you can do that yourself afterwards. So yeah, this time again we have the Build Tech Talk online due to the Corona situation. We would like to have it at our office, and I hope that in the near future we can do it in our office again. But for now, you are welcome to be here, and also in the future we will make a mix of online and on-site meetups. When you have questions in the presentations about the presentations, you can put them in the comments, or in the comments of the live stream. And let's have a look at Kapil. Kapil, welcome to this evening.
Thank you, Asil. Thank you for your introduction.
Yeah.
Indeed, it's not a good time, and we was doing this on site, but we have to do online this. Yeah. But anyway, we will do it.
Yeah. I was wondering, in your introduction, you wrote that you find yourself an APIGEek. What is that?
APIGEek, APIGeek, basically. So yeah, I have been doing this API management things, and basically it's all started when I started working with the airline domain, and I landed working with the APIs, and I have seen that how API has transformed the business and created a new ecosystem and doing the digital transformation of the business. So that's quite excite me, and since then I'm working on this. So I think I can mention now as an API geek.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious about what you have to tell us. So let's start your presentation. The floor is
Thank
yours.
you, Asil. And please let me know once you are able to see my screen and my presentation, basically. Asil, can you see the presentation now?
Yes, I can see it.
Yeah. So thank you, everyone, for joining this presentation. And I hope you all are doing good in this pandemic. Today, I'm going to talk about unlocking the digital transformation with the APIGEek. So we'll talk digital transformation with first, what is the digital transformation means actually, and how APIGEek is going to help in that. So as an introduction, Asil already mentioned that as an API geek, but that is one part of it. I'm API management architect and AWS solution architect. I'm enabling digital transformation via adoption of API first strategy and ensuring the customer success with their API program with the API management tools like APIGee and Mashery. My primary focus on the API lifecycle and designing the solution around it for the B2B, B2C, and B2B integrations. If we have a same and common interest, please feel free to follow me on the LinkedIn, and I would like to answer any questions and if there is a nice topic to talk about. As part of today's agenda, first I will talk about digital transformation and the role of the API into that. Then we'll talk API management platform APIGee itself. Then I'll talk about basically what the product and offering are there from the APIGee, their components, different deployment models, API lifecycle. And API lifecycle, I'll try to do quick hands-on and try to take a real-time use case and do a quick demo. So yeah, a digital transformation. So digital transformation is a process of using the digital technology and creating new or modify existing business processes, creating new customer experience to meet the challenging business requirements. Take the example of Netflix, how they have changed our users entertainment perspective, how they are changing the entertainment industry, and same goes with Uber. So if you see that digital transformation is a new norm now, it's not optional for the enterprises. If they want to do the business successfully, they have to go digital. And market leaders in the industry like Blockbusters and Borders, who were not ready for the change and not able to adopt the digital transformation at the time, that was the cause of their fall. Why we do the digital transformation? Digital transformation is all about the customer centricity and how we are enhancing the customer experience. This enhancing the customer experience we are doing by the API led connectivity. In each step of consumer journey, we are providing a tailored customer experience. For example, I'll give you an example of Netflix and open banking solutions. Like banks are also going beyond the compliance and open up the account information and payment initiation APIs for the retailers to initiate the payment on behalf of customers. Netflix is tailoring or customizing the your experience, the kind of history you have. So these are the few digital transformation example are there that is powered by the APIs. So basically, all the market leaders who has done great in their industry, basically they have pioneered how to open up their function data in the form of API to their partners and B2B customers and employees, and they have created an ecosystem. So they are not themselves developing the business, but they have also created a new way of doing the business with their partners and B2B customers. And basically, their partners and developers are doing the innovation with the enterprises. So this API led connectivity enhance the innovation, faster time to market, increase the customer experience, and provides the new business opportunities. If you see that, take the example of Expedia, they have opened up their booking APIs to the partners, and now 50% of revenue of Expedia is generating from those partners and from the APIs. There is a few connectivity benchmark reports that I would like to highlight on the how organization are leveraging the APIs. There is an increment in the productivity, innovation, employee engagement, agility, and increase in the line of business demand by the 58, 48, 38%. So these are the few figures that tell you that how useful APIs are in today's digital transformation age. But it's fine. Like we got to know that now business has to transform. Under the hood, it's API that solves the problem. But there is a lot of question that is unanswered. When organizations start using APIs, there is a lot of question that is not answered yet, like security. If you take the example of Facebook, in the last 3 years, couple of times they have ending up opening the users data from their developer APIs, and they have risked the millions of users personal email ID and their profiles. So security cannot be afterthoughts, and what we can do about it. So that was a major question: how you are enabling the developers, how you are telling them what the APIs are available, how they can innovate, and what are the already innovation that you have developed. So basically, there was a question around the developer engagement. There is a speed of to speed IT, because your legacy system, that your ERP system or SAP system, do not change frequently, but your app and your consumer, their experience demands agility. They want to change frequently. So how we are mapping this speed? So for that, we need a middle layer that can do the transformation and meet the market demands. That was another question. And how you are facilitating end-to-end API lifecycle? That was also a question. For that, there is a product that we call the API management product that is called APIGee. APIGee is a flagship product from the Google. is the market leader according to the Gartner Magic Quadrant. It's I think last 6 or 7 years it is a market leader in the API management tool. So what it's allow you, it's allow to facilitate complete API lifecycle. It's allow you to design. It's provide open API specification editor where you can design the APIs. You can collect the feedback from the developers, and then you can build on top of that. You can secure, you can scale, and you can publish the documentation to developers. Afterwards, you need to monitor this behavior, how your APIs are performing, what is the adoption rate. These kind of things you can do in the monitoring solution of the APIGEE. Then there is an opportunity to analyze and create your future roadmap for your API program. And also it's provide you facility to monetize your APIs. So complete lifecycle in one package that brings you Google APIGEE. APIGEE has three products: APIGEE Edge, APIGEE Sense, and monetization. APIGEE Edge is a flagship product where you do everything, like you create API, you build it, you basically all the things that is related to API, create a product and push the documentation to developer portal is all on the APIGEE. APIGEE Sense is behavior detection intelligent security tool that helps to prevent credential stuffing, content scraping, and malicious key and authorization token. So it's a security tool. And APIGEE monetization that help you to create business revenue out of your APIs and manage the billing. We will see each other component in the detail in the later in this presentation. What the product, there is a three kind of, we see in APIGEE Edge, APIGEE has a three kind of product like developer services, gateway services, and analytic services. Developer services, we will see in the details. Like developer services, we have like how, if your organization is providing the APIs to do some kind of innovation around it, or building some kind of customer experience around that. So how you are telling to the developers to use that. So basically you are publishing the documentation and it's providing the self-service portal for the developers to register their app, get the keys, play around with the documentation, and you can also provide the client SDK, developer support, and you can build a community around that. So it's all about developer evangelism or developer service. Then gateway, as I mentioned, here you design your API, build that, test it, ensure their security, do the audit logging, do all the programming that you required, maintain the design standards, governance, and best practices. That is your API gateway. If you are familiar with the API team, they spend most of their time into the API gateway service. Analytics services, because analytics is quite important because complete business run on the APIs nowadays. So any kind of thing that can cause a problem and your reputation as well as customer experience can hamper due to that. So you need to see that how your different KPIs about the APIs, how developer analytics, ops metrics, business metrics, app performance, and you can also plan for the high availability and fault tolerance. You can do the capacity planning on the analytic services of the APIGEE. We will see components. So on the leftmost side, there is a mobile app that you see that send the request to message processor, and that is a gateway of APIGEE, and that handles a request and connect to the backends. In meanwhile, if they need to process any policies or any runtime, they connect with the runtime data store, collect that information, process that. At the same time, they are sending the asynchronous analytics to the analytics services. Management API management services is the core component that ensure that all the components are synced and running successfully. It also exposes the management API that is used by the management UI and developer portal, that can also used by the operations team to do the CI/CD automation and a whole lot of things. If you see the flexible deployment models, so there is a three kind of deployment models. One is use SaaS version where runtime plane and management plane both are managed by the Google Cloud. Another thing, if you want to take the control and you want to do the things by your own, then you can install the APIGEE on private cloud as well as on the private cloud as in form of infrastructure as a service and in the private data center as well. if you want to do the things and you want to install runtime at your data center or in your cloud, but you want to shift or means do not own the management responsibility, that you want to hand it over to the Google, then there is a hybrid deployment option possible for that. There is a Anthos, that is a multi-cloud container management system that you can utilize to run your container-based runtime environment in any cloud. This is a platform architecture that I wanted to show. So basically here I have taken the example of hybrid installation of Anthos. So if you see rightmost column, APIGEE is installed on the on-premise data center and it's connecting to the backend. In the middle, it's API management, APIGEE management, and it's a management plane where you do the developer portal, API management portal, monitoring, security, analytics, and monetization. On the leftmost part, there is a B2B, B2C, or B2E partners who is connecting to the APIs on the APIGEE layer. For the lifecycle management, you have Jenkins, Maven, SonarQube, and other stuff. Now I'm going to explain about API lifecycle. At here in this place, I will quickly switch back to the console where I'll design the APIs and see how we can do that hands-on. But before going to dive deep, I'll take the example that what we are going to build. So let's take an example of organization. In this case, we are telling that this is a Capgemini organization, and they are trying to build, or they have a weather API that they want to expose to their mobile app B2B consumers. So what they will do, they will build the proxy layer on the APIGEE. That is the second step. Now they have their API ready in the proxy at the APIGEE layer. So they want to create a product out of it, and they want to push that product into the developer portal so it can be discoverable by other developers also. So now there is a mobile app, and mobile app is ready to consume the weather API. So depending on the location, weather API, what this app will do, this app will call weather API and populate the weather report in that particular location. So for accessing that weather API, this mobile app needs to be registered at the developer portal, get the keys, subscribe to the product, and then start accessing it. So next step is to register this application into the developer portal. Now this app will have their own key. They are subscribed to the product. Now they are sending the request to the backend, and it is getting validated at the APIGEE. You can pass the API key, and there is other security mechanism like token that can be done. And once that is successfully done, then API backend will send the response. And if there is any modification required, you can do at APIGEE layer. And on the while sending back a response back to the client, you can also log the messages. So this is the example that we are going to try out into the console. So in the API lifecycle, first thing is design. So design is, you really need to go to the developer's shoes, understand their need, and design accordingly. An API is as good as the how developer understand and how easy it is for developer to use. So in the design, you need to take care of a couple of things, like how you are designing your API. Keep the things simple as much as possible. Use nouns at place of verbs. So like customers is a good resource apart from get customer, and try to use plurals like at a place of customers is a good resource. Try to hide the complexity behind the query parameter. Try to use pagination if you are returning the same kind of object. Proper error response, and try to send the correlation ID to track the messages. Versioning is an important part, like how you are doing the versioning in query parameters or header. It doesn't really matter. Nowadays, very much popular is query string versioning, but it has to be consistent. Either you are choosing the query string versioning or header based versioning, both are fine, but it has to be consistent across your enterprise. It doesn't need to change frequently. Query string versioning is famous because it is easily discoverable by the tools available, and header based versioning is the guidelines of the Richardson maturity model. So both are fine. And at the end, you need to give the HETIOS link to traverse the other resources available. So I'll quickly switch back to console and try to show you that how to design this API. So basically, I have already open API specification ready. That is a weather API. So basically, this is a Swagger definition. I have info, servers, security related details, path, everything is ready. So what I will do is I will directly import this on the APIGEE Edge console. So here I'm here. If you log in, you can sign up. So basically, I will ask him to send you the sign up URL of the APIGEE account. Google APIGEE provides you the trial account, and you can do whatever I'm doing right now, and you can try out by yourself. And all the other related information you will find after this presentation in the GitHub. So Kim will send you the sign up URL for this portal. And what I'm going to do is I'm directly going to the spec. So I'm in design phase. I'm going to design the API basically. So I'm going to import the file that is already available. So I have taken the BLD demo YAML, and this is the things that you have just seen in the editor. So, and if you see it, there is a open API specification editor. Here you can try out the things and understand how the API works. So you can design your APIs in the console itself. So that is first part that we have addressed, design the APIs. Next, we are going to develop the APIs. So in the develop, there is a 4 kind of different policies that you can attach: traffic management, mediation. So in the traffic management, if you want to limit the number of API calls for particular clients, you can do that. You have facility to use the caching. If you want to do any transformation or some validation like SOAP, message validation, or extract variable policy to extract some variable and put your value that you want. Some conversion like XML to JSON or JSML to XML operation. Key value map is there to if you want to store some information at runtime that you can do. There is also some security policies like OAuth and verify API key and SAML assertion validation, regular expression. So that will help you to protect your APIs through the malicious attack. And if your use cases is not covered, then probably you can write APIs policies in the Python and the JavaScript as well. So I'm going to editor again and try to build the APIs. So we have spec ready. Now I'm going to create APIs proxy basically. So I'm going to use the definition that I have built previously in the first step. I'm going to use that. So now it's showing that you have already API exists with this name. I will change the name. So open weather map API VLD that we are going to develop. And in the policy, I can attach the policy right away, but I'm not going to do that as of now. Then this is the operation that that is going to configure. Then you can decide where you want to configure, like only the HTTP or HTTPS connection also. So, and the last, you are going to deploy this API either production or test environment. I'm going to deploy at the both places. So it will take a while. And now if you see, you can access this API through this URL available. But let's add a more complexity into that. It is very simple as of now. So we have nothing to done yet. We have just created the proxy around it. But what we are going to do is I'm going to add few policies that I have just explained in the presentation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add first API key validation policy. That is a part of security. So if you see here, there is a traffic management, security, mediation, and the extension policies that I have just explained in the presentation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add API verify key policy here. So here it's asking that you need to pass the API key in the query parameter, but I want to change it to header. Okay, that is one policy that I have just added. It is taking time. Okay, and now I want to add second policy. Second policy, probably I will add quota policy. So I'm adding the quota policy from here. But I want to change something in the quota policy. So I have already designed the quota policy here, and I want to attach in this. So quota policies here. And now your APIs are ready. So if I go to the presentation again, if you see, then we are ready. We have attached the security also, like a verify API key also. Now it's time to publish that API onto the developer portal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to editor again. Okay, so I'm going to go to editor, create an API product. So now I'm going to publish this API to the developer portal. So what I'm going to do is I will create a BLD app. I want to give to access to public, display name BLD app. And yeah, and I want to add the proxy. So I want to add this weather map BLD API into this. I have created the product successfully. But this product is not available into developer portal yet. For that, I need to go to API catalog and add this particular product here into the developer portal. So BLD app is available, and I'm going to add this. I want to publish it. API documentation. This will show you the Swagger API definition that we have created in the BLD demo. Its visibility, you can control the visibility also. Like if you want to keep it for the internal users, you can do that. So there is a different means that you can control the visibility of the documentation. So it is done. So this documentation or this particular API is on the developer portal published. Now the third thing is to register an app and start get the key for this particular product and start accessing it. For that, I will request Kim to send you the sign up URL for the developer portal. So in the chat, you can see that there will be a URL for the developer portal. In meanwhile, I will log in from myself. So if you see that I have one mobile app registered, this is an app ID, and I have an API key. And if you see here, there is only two products. One is weather product and Capgemini mock test product. BLD app is not yet enabled. So I'm going to enable it. And you can also do that. You can go to the URL, sign up for and register for the register app and get the keys for this particular product and start accessing the APIs the way I am doing it. So this particular developer portal I have customized and designed for this particular demo. So we have the keys, and I'm going to take this key so that we can use that. I'm copying the key in the notepad. So basically I have a key here, and now I'll go to the API product again. So here is the proxy that I have developed. This is a BLD API that we built. And I'm going to copy this URL. And I'm going to the Postman now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this URL. Okay. This URL, and probably I need to replace the key also, API key that we have copied here. And go to the Postman and replace this key. And Amsterdam query parameter is fine. So basically I'm going to check whether information about the Amsterdam. Yeah, so it's working. So we have seen that how Capgemini has Capgemini as an enterprise has exposed their API, a weather API, and a mobile app, how they are going to consume this particular APIs. Now I'll switch back to the presentation again. Yeah. Security is also like end-to-end in the complete digital value chain from user to app or developer and the API team and backend. Each touch point is secure by some means, like user is secure by OAuth or federated login. App is by APIGEek or OAuth and mutual TLS. Developer has SSO login and rollback access control. We have threat protection policies for the APIs, and the backend is also connected to the mutual TLS or southbound VPN. Publishing of the documentation we have seen, and how to see that in developer portal we have already seen it in the demo. This is the developer portal, and for the enterprise of Atradius that we have as a cabinet design for that. Monitoring and analytics. So for that, API program success depends on that how good your API is. So you need to monitor the KPIs in the detail. So APIGEek provides a different kind of matrices for the developer app issues, for proxy performance, platform issues, and backend issues. If I'll go and show you the in the console, there is analyze metrics, and if you see, there are different matrices for the API metrics, like how the KS performing, how the API proxy performance, error code analysis, developer engagement, traffic consumption, and other like what is the adoption rate of the your APIs that you can locate in the geomap metrics. And if your requirement is still not done, you can draw the custom metrics. This also provides alerts for your Slack channel and your basically email, so you can generate the alerts on the some matrices. It also provide seamless integration with the ELK stack, where you collect, analyze, and visualize different kind of graph. The matrices that you will be interested, maybe the request latency, request size, target errors, consumption assessment, or insufficient data center capacity. There is a monetization capability. I have already discussed it. So it's provide you to create various revenue models, payment and billing capabilities, flexible reporting, and developer portal integration. At the last but not the least, it's also provide you to management APIs to do it complete automation, design your CI/CD pipeline, and do it seamlessly. So you will need to create the API proxy template. Basically, API proxy template is nothing but your APIs, inbound, outbound targets, different kind of security and policies, and the product, how you have designed your product, and communication details. So these things you are passing into the GitHub, basically your version control. Then there will be automatic build trigger that will do the code analysis and unit testing. You will deploy that bundle and do the functional testing and performance testing, publish the report, and update the docs. And there is a support for, in each step, there is a support for the toolings, like source code can be managed in GitHub and Bitbucket, build can be done into Jenkins and Bamboo, code analysis, Sonar, and API Fortis. For the deployment, there is Excel tool, Excel Deploy and Jenkins. Performance testing, we have the Gatling and Postman, and developer portal and Confluence for updating the docs. So that's all from my side, gentlemen. Thank you for your time. Over to Hasil.
Thank you, Kapil, for your presentation. I think you have given a good overview of the challenges we encounter when we are working on digital transformations and using APIs to solve them, and also given a nice demo of what APIGEek can mean for this. I have one question from the audience. It's from Ashish Singh. And the question is, please suggest other available API gateway. How to decide which one is best for my business case?
Okay, that is the interesting one. So I think it's a very good use case for Capgemini initiative, that is integration in a week. So where we do the research at the customer place and try to tell them which product suits according to their need, and try to build some use cases within a week. So as specific to Ashish's answer, I would like to say there is a couple of products that is available already in the market. That is one is from the MuleSoft that we are going to see in the next session, APIGEE from the Google. There is TIBCO Mashery. And it's really depend what is your need and how much cost you want to invest into your API program. And you really need to see that features that you require the most. So you need to prepare a list. What is your mandatory features, what is can be optional, and you need to compare these tools. As I mentioned, if you see the Gartner reports, APG is the best product as of now in the market, but MuleSoft is not that behind. Dell Bhumi is also one of them. So I think it's a good use case to integration in a week. Ashish.
Thank you. Let's see if there are other ones. Oh, these were the questions we had now. So yeah, people can find you on LinkedIn and on by email if they have other questions.
Yep.
Thanks for your presentation again. Oh, sorry, there's one other one. How accessible is APIGee when coming from different integration technologies?
I think it's pretty good. I don't see as a integration stack. I take it as there is a two way of looking at it. One is from bottom to up, when you come from the integration background and you are looking to product to fit that need, and other one is you are coming from the microservices and SOA background where you are try to manage the API lifecycle. So I would say that from the API management perspective, APG is the better product. But if you see from the integration perspective, there is capability of integrations for a lot of products, and it's integrated seamlessly whatever the products you have in your enterprise. But you really need to see that what is the use case and what is the product that you are asking for.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Asil. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Then I think we will switch to our next presenter, Mohammed. And yeah, after this presentation, I can imagine that you are curious how you can create your own APIs, and also how other products look like that are used in this market for API management. And I think that's one of the subjects that Mohammed is going to present. Welcome, Mohammed. How are you doing today?
Thank you very much, Hassel. Thank you for asking. I'm doing well. I'm doing okay. As everyone else, working from home and having like board going out, like just limited for essential cases or essential use. But other than that, everything is okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope you find sometimes time to go out and enjoy the weather if it's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you ready for the?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's go for it.
Then the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Welcome, everyone. My name is Mohammed Alatrash, and I'm integration consultant, integration architect at Capgemini. I'm working on integration technology for about like 15 years, and lately I'm working with MuleSoft technology the most. But before that, I was working with TIBCO, APIGee, other integration API management tool. And today I will just like go with you and talk about MuleSoft and how to develop your first API using MuleSoft. Actually, MuleSoft is there in integration market for like about more than 15 years now.
Mohammed,
and it started.
Yes. May I interrupt you a while? We cannot
Sure.
see your presentation yet. So maybe you can share it.
It's there. Can you see it now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So like MuleSoft is there for about 15 years. It was like initially as an open source known as Mule ESP, but lately they are introducing Anypoint platform and Anypoint environment. So as an introduction for MuleSoft, as like introduction for this, I will not go in details which Kapil was touching and going about like the essential need for API, because like you all already know the essential need for APIs now. And I will just go and talk about technical use case for MuleSoft and how do you go and start your journey by building MuleSoft API. and deploy it and offer it as API management platform. So MuleSoft, as we know it now, it consists of multiple modules, and each module of those will have a functionality. So we have a design center where we can design our APIs. We have Anypoint Exchange where we can offer those publish and offer those APIs. We have the Anypoint Management Center where we can manage our APIs and see the analytics for those APIs. These are the functionalities which is important for any API management platform. And as you see in APIGee, Kapil was showing this, but in MuleSoft, in any other tool, I think MuleSoft is currently the leader on the market for API management. But nevertheless, MuleSoft offering an Anypoint platform where it's offering also the integration. It's offering the integration patterns, which is very rarely you see any other tool which is offering the full stack and the full platform where you do all the management and all the deployment and also the integration patterns, handling the integration patterns in the market. So it's similar to what you see on what you know about API and API management. It's starting from design. So you are designing your API. Then you need to publish those APIs in order to make it discoverable and visible. Prototyping, so you can immediately mock your API. So you can validate the design that you did on those APIs, that it's working fine and it's exposing the right method or the right API or the right functionality to the user so they can validate it. And then you start building your APIs after it's valid and it's like you know that what to expect. Building, testing, and operating your APIs, then deploying them. This is normally done in CI/CD, and with MuleSoft. MuleSoft is Mavenized tool, and we can use Maven to do whatever we want to do in like offering and deploying. You can use other tools as well, but Maven is like integrated tool in MuleSoft, and you can have the plugin, you can use it and deploy your components to different environments. So to start with, it's just like I want to make this as interactive as possible. You can go to Anypoint platform. You can go to anypointmulesoft.com, and this is like you can create your free trial account where you will have all the functionality, and you can, after this demo, after this presentation, you can go there, you can create your trial account, and you can immediately start building your APIs, and you will see how easy is this journey to build an API, and we will work together on this. If you have any question, please drop them on the chat, and I will try to answer them as soon as I can. So this is the environment where you do your registration immediately on this, so you can create your offer. If I go to this Anypoint MuleSoft and go there, so if I sign out from my account, you just need to do a new account. So if you don't have account, sign up. So you can fill your information. All you need is an email address. That's the most important part. And you create a username and password. You verify that you are not a robot. And then you have an account similar to what you will see here. So I'm signing into my account. This is a new created account, so I don't have anything previously deployed or developed in this account. And I will immediately go with you in the start designing for an API. So this is like the interface where you want to start designing your API. And once we go here, it's creating your API. So you can create your API specification. Fortunately, with MuleSoft, you can create your API in different languages. In the design center, it's supporting RAML, it's supporting open API specification, so you can develop your API in JSON, in YAML, and you can develop them here directly on this design center. The other tool that you might need for this exercise is the Anypoint Studio. And with Anypoint Studio here, you can download this Anypoint Studio from your home screen. So if we go back to the home screen here, to Anypoint platform, down, you will find a link to download Anypoint Studio. And Anypoint Studio is a tool which will look like something similar to this studio, where you can, it's an Eclipse-based studio where you can develop your flows and make your flows, deploy your flows and make your business implementation when we are talking about integration and not only a proxy. So let's go to create our first API. And as I said, we create in the design center, and we will use the editor. We will not use the visual editor. The visual editor functionality is nice, but what we will use in this demo for tonight is the code editor. And this design center is not only offering only API and API designing and building, it's also offering what's so-called like simple mule flow. So you can immediately, for a proof of concept, start implementing and using this. So if we go to the design center again, and you can create a new, you see you can create a new application. And this new application is just a mule flow. So you can name it test. And if you create this, it will ask you a couple of questions. What will be the trigger? So you can choose what trigger you want to use. And for example, you want to use an HTTP trigger. So you have an HTTP listener. This HTTP listener will be developed for you, and then you can do the business mapping, and then you can send a message to a different connector. So if we do HTTP, so here we have HTTP connector, and we do a listener. Next, so I will select the target as, like, for example, I want to go to Salesforce. So I can go and connect to Salesforce. Using the Salesforce connector, I can create like create an account or something. And then when I do done, I have already a MuleSoft flow which has been created for me, and I can run this MuleSoft flow directly. I need to configure the path here. I need to configure the MuleSoft, the Salesforce connectivity, and then I will be able to run this flow directly from here, and it will function and will give you the understanding, like if you want to do a data weave transformation, if you want to get attributes from the connector, the Salesforce connector, and map it to your HTTP response, you can do this. And this is like will be in no time. So you don't need to deploy, you don't need to do anything. It will be available immediately on the internet. But for now, we will talk about Design Center in the API terminology. So we will create an API specification. So we can create an API specification, as I said, in multiple languages. What we will use for this demo is the RAML. We can use the visual editor, so you can do this in visualization. But like what I will use for this is just code a RAML file. So let's go and go for a demo API and create specification. This will immediately open an editor, and in this editor we can start creating our like resources, and this will help you, and it's also containing some visualization. So if you want to talk about security, you can start talking about secured by or security schema or like whatever you want. So it will help you, but we will not go this because we will apply the security using the API manager. So you can build your, you can start immediately building your resources. So here I can start building, but for this demo I created this RAML file, just a simple one where we can just together go through it and build this out of it. So immediately after putting this, you will see like we have the resources, hello, just for hello world, and like customer for get customer, and you can define your response, and you can define an example for your response, and you will see like by defining those examples, we already have a mocking service where like will validate our design specification. So if I see here on the right hand side, I see the API endpoints, and I can immediately start a mocking service here. And by starting this mocking service, I can immediately start testing these methods, and I will send a request, and I can get a response immediately on those methods which has been implemented for me. So this is from design point of view. I got a response here, and it's like hello world, same as the example which I define here, and it's adding the base URI to point to the mocking service. As you see here, like we did the design, so we have like an API now. It's functioning and it's working and it's mocked, so we can immediately start testing and start validating this API. Next step is to publish this API to Exchange. And by saying publish to Exchange, because as you saw in the beginning, we are talking about Anypoint Platform, and with Anypoint Platform, it's integrated. It's like a platform which is integrated together. So we can do a publish, and this will be published to Exchange. And I can do 1.0.0 as a version, and this is V1. So publish to Exchange, and then I have an API already published. Sorry. Yes. So this is now available on my Exchange, and Exchange is the other part of my presentation here. In the Exchange, you can see it's a kind of a portal, and this portal where you see all your resources, not only all your resources, but also the resources provided by MuleSoft, because MuleSoft is providing you with multiple connectors, and those connectors can be used to do the integration using MuleSoft Runtime Manager. So you save lots of time by using like S4HANA OData connector. So you add this connector to your code, and then you just configure the connector to S4HANA, and then you will be able to consume your data directly. This is like MuleSoft providing a huge amount of components, a huge amount of connectors, and also some examples, some templates about like how to do synchronization between SAP and Salesforce. It's providing lots of rich functionalities here and connectors. The concentration now, we are talking about our demo, and this is like the demo app which will be used in our presentation. You can add whatever documentation you want here, and you see like the version 1.0.3 as a mocking service, and then you can like publish this app, and you can this API, and you can directly start using it from here. The next step for this is like we are going to API Manager. This is where we are start managing our API in API management style. And this is like MuleSoft is offering a component or a module called API Manager. And with this API Manager, you can immediately start managing your APIs. So let's go and manage an API from Exchange. And if we do this, like select the API to manage, and we have the demo API, and it will immediately check and will provide you with assets type and the API version. So it's discovered, and this is will be developed using Mule 4 or above. So if we save this one, we have an API already offered here, which is providing us with an API instance. We will come back to this API instance in a minute. So this is like an API already, like we have the implementation here, which is the mock service. and we will start doing like the implementation, the actual implementation of our API. In the API manager, we can configure the API, and we will talk about the security and adding security on top of this API once we are like talking about the security. This is the API implementation. So to implement your API, as I said in the beginning, you need to download the studio, which is an Eclipse-based studio, and this studio is very easy. I will show you here how we can develop using this studio. So this is the studio. This is the canvas of the studio. We have like the package explorer, and we have outline. We have like the palettes that we can drag and drop to our project. And what I will do, I will create a Mule project. And this is like, let's say it's a demo app. And this demo app is like exists on our design center. So I will start immediately taking this from the design center. So I will go to this. This is our demo API, which we just developed. So if you select this one, and it will connect and it will provide us with this finish. And once I do finish here, it will build already the flow for us. Like so, the components which will be used to develop our business will be built for us here. So you will see it's just like a matter of minutes, and then we have our API built. See, it's created the HTTP listener for us. It's created the APIGEek router, and it's created the basic errors. So all the basic errors from API point of view, like not accessible, not method not allowed, or the resource not found, the bad request. All this has been implemented directly for us, and we have on top of that also the API console, where we can also use it as a testing mechanism. The beauty of this, it's building also the business here. So if we go to the Get Hello, which is the service here, we have a response immediately prepared for us. And this is like, it can be like a ping service to a database. So you can go and drop down a database connector, and drop down a database functionality where you do a select statement, which will select based on a username. And then if the username exists, respond with the hello world. But that's the business behind this. So this is where you are implementing your actual Mule flow. This is how easy to do this. And on top of this, you can implement also the unit test cases, where it will be executed when you are doing development for your component, or when you are deploying your components. This is for the studio. And once we developed our component, we will use the studio for designing, unit testing, and debugging. So if we want to run our component in debug mode, we can also run this component in debug mode, and we can add breakpoints. So this is like a breakpoint, we add it, and then when we run this in debug mode, it will stop at the APIGEek router, and then we can step by step see what's happening in our studio and in our API behind the scenes. Now, in order to deploy this component, the deployment process is easy. So what we can do this in two ways. And the first way, I will use both of them, and I will show you why I will use both of them, because I need to deploy this component, and then it will not be discovered by the API manager, and I will show you why. So we can go to the Anypoint platform, and this is deploy to Cloud Hub. And with deploy to Cloud Hub, it will pop up a screen like this, and we can sign in if it will not discover it. So we have a demo app. Let's say it's just just to make it unique name, because we are deploying to AWS, and with AWS, those apps should be unique. And then we can configure our API, and we can set like properties. This is the runtime properties, deployment properties, and inside we can enable like logging, and we can even assign a static ID to our API. Most of you know what the need for a static ID. So, for example, if you are deploying a component to like communicate with FTP server, it should be whitelisted, and with the static ID, you can add this static ID so that this will be whitelisted for you. Deploy the application. This will deploy the application to Runtime Manager. So if once it says like we can close, we will close this. Okay, let's move. So here, like we are deploying, we will see that the component has been deployed to our Runtime Manager later. But now, like as I said earlier, we created something on the API Manager, and here we said like we have an API instance, and this will show you how much we are integrated. Like MuleSoft modules, they are integrated together. This API instance is like auto discovery, and if we go to our developed component and we add to this API auto discovery, and then all what we need to do here is to provide an API ID and then the flow name, which is the main flow in our API now. So if we put this will make this component as deployable, as discoverable. So the API manager, which we see here, it's saying like unregistered. So it's not seeing this endpoint because this is a mocking endpoint. It's not registered. So it's trying to communicate with the API manager, with the runtime manager, to see like where is this API deployed, and to immediately hook the API manager to that component and start using it and managing that API. So we add the API discovery here, and then we need to deploy the component again. And how we will do the deployment, I will show you the other way of doing the deployment using Maven. And here I just go to this folder where I have my component has been saved, and I will just go to command line, and with command line I will just execute a command, Maven clean package, and this will trigger Maven, and Maven will do the creating of the package. It will create a jar file, and that jar file we can take with us and deploy to the environment. So if I choose this jar file and go to the environment again, we will see in the runtime manager that we have a component. It's already started. We will do redeploy this component again. So we choose the file and upload the file, and this is the file which we will upload. So open. This is like uploading the file. Now, in the properties for this API, we need to provide to the runtime manager and to API manager like an ID for environment. So not every environment, like our organization here, if we look at our organization, we have an organization, and we look at the access management in our organization. We have like in my organization here test, I have an organization ID, and I have a client ID and client secret, where I can hook them to this. So if I go back to runtime manager, this is my app. In the settings, in the properties, I will add this, and I will choose the file again. So this is the file I want to deploy, and then I will apply the changes. By applying the changes, it will deploy my app again. In this app, or this Mule runtime, is a containerized. So it's a container, and once this finished, I will show you the logs, because this runtime manager is deploying a service in a specific container, or like as like container by itself. So here, when it's deploying for the first time, it was creating the Cloud Hub worker at this IP address, and now we are deploying a new one, which will deploy or will create a new Cloud Hub worker. This is for like doing like zero downtime. So the first container will still continue running till the other container is up and running, and we have like a load balancer on top of those, where it will switch between the old app and the new app with zero downtime. And this is like a functionality provided out of the box from MuleSoft. So you don't need to worry about like when you are doing a new deployment and you are deploying your app. So this is like how we deploy from the studio or like from Maven. And in the meanwhile, it's doing like the deployment. I will talk about the policies for the API, and I will show you those policies, how we are dealing with the policy in API Manager. So if you go back to the API Manager, let's keep that running. And then we have this API, this demo API is up and running, or trying to connect to that API. See, we can apply multiple policies here, and as you see in the other tool like APIGEE, we have different kind of policies, and with those different kind of policies, like you can add a new policy, and those policies are categorized. So you can add a security policy, you can add a quality of service policy, you can add a troubleshooting policy, you can add whatever policy you think about. Like if we explore the security policy, you can do a tokenization, you can apply an OAuth2, basic authentication, IP listing, IP whitelisting, IP blacklisting, whatever like policy you can think about. It's either implemented here or in the roadmap to be implemented. On top of this, like even if the policy is not there, like you can add in the management, you have a custom policy. So if you want to add a custom policy, like if you search the policies which is already exist, and you found like my policy or the policy I want to apply is not there, and I want to add a new policy. So if you add a custom policy, you can add a custom policy from a YAML file, or like from an XML file. You can add your own policies if it's like specific, and you can add automated policies. And with the automated policies, you can like add policies which will be applied to each and every API which will be deployed to your environment. So if we go to like client policies, API administrator, and go to our API, for this demo, I will add 2 policies, and those 2 policies will be one for security, and the one for security here, I will choose for going with basic authentication. And with this basic authentication, I will configure the policy, and then I will just choose a username test with a password, and I will do apply. And this will be applied to the API which I'm deploying currently. I'll add a new policy, and that policy will be for like quality of service, and I will add a rate limiting, like throttling. This is like a policy which I can add directly here, and let's say I will allow 3 requests per minute, and I will apply this policy as simple as this. And then like I will wait for this to come green, because that means my API has been registered. So if we go to the runtime manager again and look at this runtime manager, we will see this app still deploying, because there will be a communication currently happening between the runtime manager and API manager. So this is like the app itself is started successfully, but still it will need to make the communication, and it will need to make this zero downtime to switch between the previous app which has been deployed and the new app which will be deployed now. So this is like, now it's updated successfully, policies has been added, and everything is looking fine. So this is green, and the old version has been stopped, the new version has been added with zero downtime. So we have like a switch between app, or like update the app without having any downtime or any impact on our client. So this is like the app which we deployed, and this is the URL for this app. So if we go to this URL and ask for hello, no, sorry, it will be API hello, and it will respond with hello world, because this is already stored somewhere in my environment. And if I go here, like the API manager, to make sure that I have the policies already configured, it still says unregistered. So that means it's still like looking for the communication. Okay, in the meanwhile, till this also becoming green, should see in the logs. It seems like I have. Sorry. There was a mistake done by me here, and I didn't save. So I added the API auto discovery, but I didn't save this one. So I'm still deploying an old version. I'm sorry for this. It's just a confusion here, but yeah, it's demo effect, and it's too late. So now we are going back to update this one. And I will check, like I have the properties already there. Yeah, it's like queued for deployment now. So it will create a new deployment, and it will deploy the same application again, where we will see in the API manager, it will be green, and it will be discovered. So here we have the API manager. Yeah, it will take a bit of time, but like here, let's go back to the presentation till this is going back. So we added the policies, and we will see after the deployment is done, we will see the policy has been updated, and we can test this. The other functionality which API Anypoint platform is providing for any user is like monitoring, and you can monitor your APIs, so you can see like which API is consuming more CPU, and you can have a continuous monitoring in your APIs. So we will go to our environment, and we'll go to this monitoring. And with the monitoring, we will see, like, we will select the environment. We are talking about sandbox environment, and this is the API we have, and this is the instance that we are talking about. So if we view this instance, we will see, like, yeah, still it's because it's still deploying, we will see no data, and we will see like no average size of request, average response time. You will see the average of response code, like request by HTTP response code. So you will see like a grouped responses for HTTP, and you will see request per method. And here, the most important, you will see the number of requests that you are receiving on this API. And you can like add limits, add number of minutes, number of days, number of months. You can do your analysis. You can generate your reports. You can also do a custom dashboarding. So you can add your custom dashboards. What's also nice here, you can add alerts. So you can add a new alert, which is, say, a basic alert. Alert name is test. And then we are selecting the environment, sandbox, resource name. Like, yeah, it's still not seeing my API. Yeah, but here you will select an application, and then like if you see like a message count above number, then like for at least 5 minutes, then you can send an email, and this email will be with a subject and a custom message, and you can add as much as you want from recipients. So this is like the alerting mechanism. The custom dashboarding, you can add portlets here, and you can configure those portlets. I want to add like a graph, and this graph like a panel title, and you can add rows, and you can apply the changes, and then you build your own dashboard. For now, let's continue and see if our API is, here it's, this is API key is unlocked now, and it's available. So that means the API manager will be able to see this API, and we will see like a green active API. So if we go again and try to call this API, we are expecting to being asked to put a username and password. I will just do the test again from Postman, so it will be easier and it will be more visualized. So here I will update my URL. So this is the URL. This is my URL. I call this one. Yeah, I should see like authentication attempt failed because I didn't send the right authorization. So I need to send here the right username, the right password. And then if I do send, I will get the hello world. But we have another policy which is enabled. So if we make 3 calls in a minute, we should receive like a different error. Okay, we are receiving like 429, which is too many requests. So quota has been exceeded, and this is a response we are getting back from the API manager that we are using for managing this API. Now, if we go back to our environment and look at the monitoring part, so we should be able to see in this API, like number of requests. We should be able to classify. This is the status code, and this is the get, and we see the average time for this. This is like some graphicals here, showing like the policies and the policies applied, the minimum, the error codes that we are receiving. So those are like all like out of the box functionality for API manager in MuleSoft. If we go back to our presentation, and the module which I want to talk about last is the visualizer. And this visualizer is like the component in MuleSoft environment or in MuleSoft API endpoint platform, which is visualizing the calls between different APIs. So if we have like multiple APIs, because when we are talking about MuleSoft, we are talking about API-led connectivity, the concept of MuleSoft, and we are like talking about process layer, experience layer, and system layer, and those are like the layers communicating with each other. So it will visualize for you how many APIs exist on your API-led connectivity. It will also, based on like real-time calls between those APIs, get this information and show you a visual graph for your APIs and how they are consuming those services. And if we look at the environment here, our environment, we will see like, we have only one API, and we will see this API. So if I select the sandbox environment, we have one app, and this app is not enabled in monitoring, so we will go and enable it. So once this app is enabled, this will do again another redeployment for runtime manager. So if we go to the runtime manager again, we will see our app is redeploying again or updating. So in the MuleSoft visualizer here, after this app will be updated, and we create, because it will show it only after the first call. So if there is no calls to this API, you will not see it in the visualizer. You will see it in the visualizer only when there is a call happening to this, so it can decide that this call is coming from external call, like in here. This is an external traffic, internal traffic, and it's going and it's calling a GMS, it's calling a database underneath. So everything here in the visualizer you can monitor and you can see, and it will bring all the APIs which is in your environment. Once this is updated, it will bring all the APIs in your environment, and you will see, still it's updating. So this is like what I want to talk about in this demo, in this quick demo, and quick try to enable you to see the how MuleSoft, how easy you can build an API using MuleSoft. If you create your trial account, your trial account will be like enabler for you to start building, and you can go to training.mulesoft, where they have provided like lots of online training, and you can register to one of those, and you will be certified as a Mule developer in less than a month if you are following this training. Thank you, everyone, and back to Asel.
Thanks a lot for your demo and your presentation, Mohammed. I think you have given a good overview of the capabilities of MuleSoft and how someone can, or how the people can develop an API in MuleSoft. And I would like to go to the questions. Actually, there's one question in the Q&A from Sanne Visser. And she asked, what about the MuleSoft upgrade from version 3 to 4? I understand it's not backwards compatible. How do you advise dealing with the versioning of MuleSoft itself?
Yes, that's really a good question. MuleSoft version 3 is like already like an old version now, really old. It was like Mule 4 has been introduced about 2 years ago, and like the advice is to upgrade everything from 3 to 4. Actually, MuleSoft is providing a migration tool. So if you are a client of MuleSoft, you can make a call to MuleSoft support, and they will provide you with a migration tool to migrate from 3 to 4. And this will be the easiest way to migrate from MuleSoft 3 to MuleSoft 4, because it's not backward compatible indeed, what you are mentioning here. So you need to upgrade it using a migration tool. And then this will enable like Maven, and you can deploy using your CI/CD pipeline, your new generated component from the migration tool.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
What I was wondering also, it struck me from both your presentations. If I look at the lifecycle of creating the API, then actually the build phase is quite late in that cycle. And before you do the build, you have already done quite a lot of work.
Yeah,
Can
indeed.
you explain a little bit why it is this way?
Indeed, like the API itself, like building an API technically is not a problem. The problem is what Kapil was talking about in the first presentation is digital enablement. So to make it digital and to enable the digital world, then you need to design your APIs, and the design for the APIs to understand what do you want from the data, what do you want from your resources. That's the challenge, the most challenging part of building an API. Using a tool to build an API, the tool at the end is a tool, and most of the tool in the market will provide you with like the capability to build an API. What we are talking about here in this session, we talk about APIGee, we talk about MuleSoft, and those are the real leader on the Gartner Magic Quarter, and they are the real leaders because they are providing a design capability, and they are like facilitating your design, facilitating your validation, providing you with the mock services. Those are the ideas which is enable you from business point of view, like to build your APIs and to create your APIs, because APIs should be built to support business, to support use cases. They are not built to just build an API. They are built to support the use case and to support the business.
Okay, yeah. So it's very important that you first create a contract. So
Yes.
to say, and
That's
based
true.
on that contract, you build your API at the background, but also the connecting parties can already build on that contract their side
Yes.
of the. Yeah.
That's true.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
This concludes our evening for today. I would like to add that Kapil has already provided his sources on GitHub, and Kim will give the link in a few seconds in the chat. And Mohammed, you are also going to provide your sources on GitHub, but a little bit later, I think.
Yeah, I will provide it a little bit later.
Yeah. So we will make sure that also that will be shared.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks everybody for being here tonight with us and listening to the stories of Kapil and Mohammed. Of course, the session is recorded, and if you know other people who would like to see it, inform them that they can look at YouTube or the other channel for seeing these presentations again. And you can also make sure that you see future presentations by connecting to the channel. Yeah, and I would like to ask attention for Build Tech Talk events that we will have next week, two big events. On Tuesday the 17th, we will have a Java night with international speakers, and the evening after that we will have Microsoft night. So if you would like to see that, please join us also on this YouTube channel or in the meetup where you can register yourself already. That's it for today. Thanks all for being here. Thanks, Mohammed and Kapil, for your presentations. And
Thank you.
hope to see you soon again. Bye.